When you do this work on and in yourself to activate and heal and awaken your root chakra, fire, power, kundalini, serpent energy up, raising that up through your body to your crown to be crowned, so you're sitting on the throne of your purpose and your power. You are called to shed the dead weight in more ways than just one. Literally, your body will call you to lose weight, to lose fat. Right now, I am seeing all of the videos and memes going around about Lizzo. It's about damn time, girl. It's about damn time. I'm going to use her as an example in this that we're going to be talking about. But when you activate, y'all, your body wants to shed the weight. The only reason why it's holding on to the excess weight is because of the trauma. Because on the journey that you just walked off as an activated one, you were in a war for your life, for your mind, for your body, for your soul. You were in a spiritual, psychological war. And when you're in a war, you can't be too skinny, honey. You got to keep on that weight just in case somebody want to get froggy and try to take a leap. When you're too skinny, it seems like you're easy to be picked off and to be picked on. But when you got that weight on you, you dare, who gonna check you, boo? You got to look like you can handle folks. And so the only reason why you've kept the weight on was for protection. The only reason why your body kept the excess weight on was because you needed to defend yourself, but not anymore. And let me tell you why. Welcome to Alcheminity, because turning pain into power is sexy. And I'm your host and creator of this colony and the many colonies we are building around our globe. I'm just thankful to be a vessel. Listen, I'm your queen bee, Miss Burgess, if you're nasty. Now we're going to get into this message, y'all. For those of you who want to partner, collaborate, sponsor Alcheminity, all that information is in the description box. You can email me at timmeshaburgess@gmail.com and we can go from there. All right. So let's get into this message, y'all. Listen, when you activate and integrate and awaken your root chakra energy, okay, raising that up to the crown to be crowned, as we already know, and you are rising up in your power and in your purpose, you realize that your body was holding on to weight. And the only reason that it was holding on to the weight was because of the traumas, was because of the things you had to walk through and to go through. Now, as I said previously in the introduction, all right, our bodies hold on to weight because it needed to survive. It needed to get through some things, honey, right? Like, think about it. When you're too skinny, people see somebody that was too thin, or not even too thin, seeing somebody who was thin, right? That person looked easy to be picked off, picked on, picked up, picked apart, thrown down. Like, it looks like you can, people assume that you can just throw that type of person around. And so for those of us who have been on this type of journey, you kept on the weight. Your body kept on the weight for a reason. I'm hearing, get your weight up. Get your weight up. You know what I'm saying? Get your weight up, bro. Right? The saying meaning get your weight up means you need to be able to have on some mass or some muscle or something because you were going through something, particularly for those who have experienced some sort of sexual trauma. Our bodies held on to weight for the longest. Our bodies would purposely produce fat and weight, especially around our thighs and midsection. Why? Why do you think so? Because that's where our chakra points are and start to rise up. That's where your womb is. That's where your yoni is. That's where your root chakra is, right? So those are the points in our bodies that where the midsection is, right? That would keep energy stuck and stagnant. And so we would pack on weight or hold on to weight because our bodies were literally trying to protect us, right? When you've experienced some sort of trauma, sexual trauma, physical trauma, emotional or mental trauma, your body will hold on to weight without you trying, right? For those of you who've been on this journey, you might have had some difficulty losing weight or burning fat, or if you did lose weight, it was difficult to keep it off. It would just come right back. And I know that because I've been on that same journey. I knew that the work was happening on and in my root chakra. I knew that once I started to heal that, my body started to change. Once I started activating that, my body started to change. This is why when I say you activate and integrate, you become more magnetic, you become more beautiful, you become more attractive. This is what makes you sexy, right? Because your body literally starts to change as you do this work in and on yourself. And so as I was on my dark night of the soul journey and doing this inner root chakra work to raise this energy up, right? Again, I was on this journey just trying to survive. But I had no idea that there would be thrivings in other ways, so to speak. So as I was doing this work on myself, I wasn't even trying to work out. The weight, I was much heavier than what I am now. And I always kind of yo-yoed in my body, But at this time, I was much heavier. And when I started my spiritual journey, the heavy weight that I was holding on to literally just disappeared. My family, my mother particularly got concerned because she was like, "You getting too skinny. Don't lose no more weight." You're getting really thin when there's a shift like that happening when other people around you start to see it. But I didn't notice it because I was just on a spiritual journey. Granted, at that time I was plant-based, pescatarian. When you're on the spiritual journey, this is where you are. And so I realized that the weight just kind of fell off and melted off. And again, I've always yo-yo back and forth, which is always proof of how far I've come or how far I've gone or how much more healing and activation and work I need to do. And this is a continuous journey. This isn't something that you just do one day and then it's done, right? With maintaining a healthy body, that comes with daily practices of what we're choosing to eat, how we're choosing to move our bodies. And so going back to Lizzo, when Lizzo first came onto the scene, right, much heavier than what she is right now. People talked about her body. People criticized her. Other celebrities criticized her and said, she was condoning being overweight and being unhealthy because she was confident in her body, or she had to learn to become the alchemist because of the weight of her body. Now that she has reached this level of success in her life, because when you reach this level of success in your life, usually that comes with having done some work on yourself mentally, right? There are some people who get to a certain level of success, they do not do the work on themselves and they spiral, right? They grow some sort of addiction to things or whatever happens, they spiral. But Lizzo in this case has activated as she come into her power and her purpose, right? Because as she activated, she came online with her gifts as a musician, as a singer, as a dancer, as a flute player. She came into her power, right? Now that power is showing up on the outside because of the work that she's doing in and on herself. I don't know if Lizzo experienced sexual trauma, but as a kid and as a heavy kid as she always was growing up, because if you see old pictures in the story that she told, she always talked about how much heavier she always was. So I don't know what sort of trauma she may or may not have experienced in her childhood. We all have experienced something. I don't know. For her, it could have been bullying because of her size, right? So now she has become the alchemist and has turned her pain into power. Now that she's probably doing this work on and in herself to heal, the weight is coming off because she is now activating in her power and in her purpose. And her body is now showing up as proof of that. Her actions are now showing up as proof of that. Right? When you activate and awaken your root chakra energy and this energy rises up, the body feels like, you know what? I don't need to hold on to this anymore. Your decisions will change about how you eat and what you eat and when you eat, right? You'll have more of a mind and body connection. And so your body will say, I'm ready to let this go now. I'm ready to heal from this now. And as you make that decision, your body will shift. Your body will change. For those of us on this particular journey who have yo-yoed up and down in our bodies, like, this isn't for you ones who've been skinny mini bennies all your life. You can listen to it and learn. Okay. But this is for those of us who our genetics and our DNA says big bags, big girl, okay, big hole, with it, dum. This is for those of you who had to alchemize your DNA. You literally had to upgrade your DNA because your traditional hereditary genes say your body wants to be heavier than what it is, especially than what it should be, especially if you've experienced some sort of sexual trauma. So now it's twofold for those of us who've had to learn to turn our pain into power and become alchemists, right? So not only is it coming up through your DNA, but it's coming up through trauma. There are some folks who, for example, I have a childhood friend, and she's a physical therapist. When we were growing up, she participated in gymnastics. Her and her sister were very Olympic bound kind of girls. They did not experience sexual trauma, so they were very involved and connected to their bodies early on. And not only that, through their DNA, the women are very slim, very toned. If she got thick, she only got thick in her thighs, but her waistline stayed really skinny. Her face, her arms stayed slim. That kind of DNA stuff comes up through the DNA. It just does. If your mom and grandmother and aunties were all pretty much slim or, Coke bottle bodies, then more than likely that's going to be in your DNA. I'm thinking of Tiana Taylor. It's through the DNA. That shit just runs in the DNA. And so this is the same thing for heavier set or thicker people. There are things that can run in your DNA. And when you become the alchemist, you upgrade your DNA. You have to upgrade your DNA if you are alchemizing, turning your pain into power, and this showing up in your body. And your body know, and your spiritual bodies know, and you being a vessel, okay, the spirits that work through your ancestors and spiritual bodies that work through you also know that you are healing or healed and activating, and it is time to shift and let go of the weight in more ways than one. Yes, we are burning away people, places, and things. We're also burning away our old selves. This is why we have a death and a rebirth. We have many deaths and rebirths, and this is one of them. For me, as I was doing the work in and on my root chakra, and I'll talk about this in my book, Activate. If you don't have your copy, go ahead and get that. What are you waiting for? It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook, or you can order your copy directly from me. I'll sign and inscribe it and send it to you, okay? So in my book, I talk about this heavily, but as I was doing this work in and on myself, talking about the sexual traumatic experiences that I went through as a kid, okay? That I experienced as a kid, I realized and learned as well that my body, as our bodies do, hold on to weight in the thighs, in the midsection, again, where the root chakra, sacral chakra is, where we're working on and healing the sexual energy centers, okay? But I realized, particularly for me, what was showing up and what needed to be healed, and how this was affecting my body and my ability to maintain a slim body, right? Which is naturally what my body kind of wants to do. But due to trauma, and then again, through some things through the DNA, we have to upgrade and alchemize this shit. And so it's double, triple the work for those of us who are turning pain into power. It is, meaning because it wasn't handed to us, meaning it wasn't given to us on a silver platter. We have had to alchemize and work for it and die to be reborn for it, right? And so Lizzo is clearly gone through a death and a rebirth. I saw one of her Instagram posts where she wrote, it was a picture of her, like a post, like a picture of her, big blown up picture of her. And she was standing in her backyard or somewhere she was. And she wrote on it, "Bye, bitch." She was like, "Bye, bitch." She started laughing. It was an old picture of her where she was heavier, and she X'd it out and put "Bye, bitch" on it. This is her death and rebirth. Lizzo has activated. Lizzo, in this example of her shedding the weight, is her answering her calling, because her old self needed to be sacrificed. That old self was like, okay, I'm ready to go now, because the person that she has become and is becoming has been calling her for a long time. Like many of us, in order to get to our next level of power and purpose and mission, we have got to let go of the dead weight in more ways than one. For me, right? And this is going to resonate with many of you on this same journey, but I know that part of turning my pain into power has to do with how my body looks. Yeah. It has to do with how my body looks. Now, that doesn't mean I want to be a bodybuilder or anything like that. Absolutely not. No. But you on this journey of activated ones, if you're listening to this, you have already had visions of what you are supposed to be looking like. You already have visions of what your body is supposed to look like, what your hair is supposed to look like, because as you're activating, the Kundalini serpent energy is awakening to who you are supposed to become and unbecome so that you can fulfill your mission and purpose in this life. I've seen visions of myself. I've had dreams and epiphanies of what this self is supposed to look like, right? And so turning pain into power means to become that self. But in order to become that self, we have to unbecome. It's time for our bodies to release the dead weight in more ways than one. And as I'm talking to you, I'm talking to myself, okay? And not revert back, not keep reverting back, not, and a lot of it reverting back again has to do with some things on an energetic level, right? There's still some releasing to let go of. There's still some energetic ties or tethers to some things that hadn't been healed or pulled out, or on a very day-to-day level, stress can add to that, right? I work a very stressful job as a flight attendant. So for me, I'm triple working, right? Doing the inner work and the outer work and having to transmute energy, right? As a flight attendant, we're around people and, all day long, and not just the people, but just the politics of work and all the responsibilities that come, with that. There's a lot of stress around aviation right now. People are just, nervous and, talking about all the recent rise and crashes. So there's a lot of stress around my work. And so stress can contribute to that. For me, that's what contribute to it. And so turning pain into power for me is making sure that I'm in positions in my life where there is less stress so that my body doesn't have to continue going through this yo-yo effect. So I can continue to always be in my power and in my purpose, not being in positions that would take away or take me off of the path that I'm supposed to be on. Right? Being in stressful environments, being in stressful work environments, being in stressful relationships. All of this can cause us to block our power and block us from alchemizing and blocking us from turning our pain into power. Being in connections with the wrong people, places, things, working on the wrong jobs, things that add stress can take us out of our power and out of our purpose and take us off of the path in which we're supposed to be here doing, right? It's time to shed the dead weight in more ways than one and never to return again. I was having a vision of, I don't know if any of you watched the series. It was on Netflix. It was called Queen of the South. Oh my gosh. That show. Ooh, I love it. I love that series. And I guess what? I didn't watch the last season. I think I watched part of it, but I did not watch last season when she died. I didn't watch it. I couldn't watch it. And sometimes we're guided to watch things just to get the messages out of them. We're not guided to watch every detail of it, but I got what I needed to get. And so there was one episode that stood out, many episodes, but this one in particular was when the apparition of her higher self, her future self, appeared to her when they locked her away in this cage and was about to use her as a mule to do this drug thing, right? That's when she first came to the U.S. before she became queen. But anyway, she was in this holding cage jail cell thing, and she appeared to herself, and her that appealed to herself was her activated self. Okay, was her awakened and arisen self, and this self was wearing like an all white suit, red lipstick, red bottom heels, looking good, hair done, nails done, everything. She was powerful. This powerful self showed up to her. And she looked up and she was like, wow. And this higher self, or this activated self, told her that she was a Lirios de los Valles. Lirios de los Valles. She was a lily of the valley. Oh, I'm getting chill bumps. Lily of the valley, shining like the morning sun. Something, I don't know. It's an old gospel song. Lily of the valley. Da, 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 I don't know. Y'all know that song? I don't know. But Lirios de los Valles, a lily of the valley. So many of you, these are what you've seen apparitions of yourself. You've had visions, you've had dreams, you've had epiphanies of what you are supposed to look like in order to come into power and purpose, in order to alchemize. You've seen visions of yourself, what you were wearing, what your body looked like, what your skin looks like, what your hair looks like, how you walk, how you talk, what you smell like. You see this self. I've seen myself, this activated self, and I have become that self, right? I've seen myself, I've seen the promised land, and I have been in this body without even realizing that I was fully in that body, right? And so when you activate, and now don't get me wrong, I said I've seen myself in this body, but it's been a yin and yang. It's been a yo-yo effect even for me too. So don't think you're on this journey alone. Okay. There are some things within my body that still must be shed in order for me to fully be in my power and in my purpose. And I think Lizzo is just a prime example of what that looks like. Bye, bitch. Right. We sacrificed our old selves in so many ways. And for me, this is like one of the last pegs on the journey of turning pain into power in this life. Okay. And in this life and this plane of existence that we're in right now, the last little notch on the belt for me would be in what my body looks like, because my body, as many as for your bodies, have a lot to do with your mission and your power and your purpose. For example, many of you are supposed to be in the public eye. Maybe you're going to be models or singers. Maybe you're going to be pageant queens or hosts or writers or actors or whatever in the public eye. And your body, maybe you're supposed to be my friend, going back to my friend, she competes in fitness competitions. She's got 2 boys, competes in fitness competitions. I mean, body is amazing and beautiful. She puts in the work, right? And again, her DNA definitely supports her with having a body that she works towards. But if some of your missions and your purposes have to do with competing in swimsuit competitions or things like that, your body is a requirement that it looks a certain way. Is this not so? So in order to alchemize our pain into power and come into our purpose, it's about getting the body right. It's about activating the body as well, not just within, but that's showing up on the outside. And when you activate your root chakra, it is showing up on the outside energetically. It's showing up in your skin. You're still gorgeous. You're still magnetic. You're still attractive. Like, speaking for myself, still gorgeous, magnetic, and attractive. But baby, I got back fat. Okay. It's time to shed the weight in more ways than one. Burning it in more ways than one, so that we can alchemize with that shit, right? And it not returning, upgrading our DNA, activating our DNA so that our bodies work with us on this mission that we are called to fulfill in more ways than one. So as you activate and awaken this energy, it is going to show you what you are supposed to look like in order to come into your power and your purpose. It is time to shed the weight in more ways than one. So in the comment section, I want y'all to write, I've shed the weight. I want y'all to write, let it burn, right? I want y'all to write DNA upgraded. I want y'all to write DNA activated. Okay? Because on this journey, in the words of what's my boy Justin Timberlake, we bring sexy back. Why? Because turning pain into power is sexy. We bringing sexy back. Yep. The motherfuckers don't know how to act. Yep. Hey, listen, I hope y'all enjoyed this. Honey, I know you did. This is for you. All right. Make sure you like, make sure you share, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. What are you waiting for? To get your merch and your book, click my Linktree link in the description box. Go ahead and get that. And please donate, y'all. It helps me continue to bring these messages to you as you like them, okay? Don't forget to become members here on YouTube and also on Patreon. Join the masterclass, because I am this spring 2025 bringing the Sex Goddess series, the Sacred Temple Sex Goddess series to Patreon only. And so for those of you who are masterclass members of Come, you will have access to the full series. For those of you who are general support members, you will get access to selected pieces of content within that series. So make sure y'all become members. I'll see y'all. I'll speak to y'all in the next episode. Ciao for now. Mwah.